Guys, brain rot used to be a joke. It was that thing you said when you watched way too many Subway Surfer split screen videos and your eyes started twitching. At first, it was a meme, a bit, something you just laughed about. But it's not a joke anymore. So, three things in this video: what brain rot's actually doing to your head, how Gen Z is trying to fix it, and the one thing nobody's saying out loud: the real cure is simpler and more uncomfortable than anyone wants to admit. Stick around for that last one. Oxford named it Word of the Year. Usage went up 230% in 12 months. And 6 weeks ago, a jury found Mark Zuckerberg's company legally responsible for designing addictive products that hurt kids' brains. The penalty was over $350 million. The American Psychological Association published an actual peer-reviewed study confirming that yes, your brain is measurably worse at things now. Unfortunately for me, it's social skills, but that's not the point of the video.
If you scroll on your phone every day, you probably have something called brain rot.
Oxford University Press has just announced its Word of the Year for 2024, brain rot.
But here's the part that's actually interesting. The same generation, aka me, that built brain rot, that named it, that turned it into identity, is suddenly trying to fix it. There's this whole new TikTok trend called the curriculum. Over 90,000 videos and counting. People posting their monthly reading lists, their offline hobbies, their dopamine menus, those phone-free rituals that you see all over the place now. Gen Z is staging an intervention.
I created the reading curriculum that I've always wanted. So over the next year, I'm going to tackle a classic book curriculum that I set up with my own guidelines.
And guys, please don't get it twisted. I'm not standing here pretending like I'm above this. I'm literally in it. But that's actually why I wanted to make this, because the brain rot conversation online is being held by two groups of people. On one side, you have productivity influencers who somehow have 10 habits and a gratitude journal and never look tired. On the other hand, you have these doomers who say it's already over and we're completely cooked. Let me tell you, neither of those is me. And honestly, it's probably not you either. Alright, let's start with what's actually happening in your head right now while you're watching this. Spoiler, it's not great. Okay, stay with me on this one because it's the most overlooked thing about brain rot, and once you see it, you can't unsee it. Brain rot didn't just take your attention span away, it rewrote your personality. And the wild part is, you didn't notice. Because how would you? You're inside it. Think about your sense of humor right now. The things that make you laugh, the phrases you use without thinking. Guys, I don't think I've went a day for the past year without saying 6-7. The rhythms, the timing, even the references that you use. And be honest, how much of that came from you? And how much of it got installed? Your taste, your humor, your references, the things you find interesting at 11 p.m. when you're alone, none of that exists in a vacuum anymore. It's been shaped layer by layer by what got rewarded on your feed. You didn't pick your personality, the algorithm has, and it picked the version of you that performs best.
Officially become a victim of brain rot content, bro. I can no longer watch a long form video anymore, bro. I can't watch long form videos unless it's on 2x speed or 1.5 speed, bro.
So let's go to the curriculum. If you're not on this side of TikTok yet, here's the gist. People, mostly Gen Z, are posting these monthly setups, reading lists, classes they're taking, and skills they're learning. It's like almost a syllabus for being a person again. And let me tell you, it's everywhere. People are trying to remember who they were before the feed, and honestly, before COVID. Before I say anything skeptical, guys, let me say this clearly. I believe this is genuinely beautiful. Like, a generation that was basically raised by the algorithm is collectively going, wait, this isn't who I want to be. And I feel like that's huge, man. That's the first step of every recovery there is. People are reading books for fun. Bro, I see people start like picking up sewing, going on walks without their phones. People are trying to find their original taste again. After what we just talked about in section 1, your personality getting outsourced, this is the response. People are taking back the receipt, trying to figure out who they actually are when nobody's curating it for them. And I feel like that deserves real credit. Now, having said that, the whole thing is also kind of insane. Because where are people posting these curriculum videos? On TikTok. Where are they getting their I went phone free for a week videos from? On the phone. Where are they getting recommendations for books to read offline? from that algorithm. It's like organizing an Alcoholics Anonymous meeting at the bar. People are using the same dopamine machine that broke them to perform their healing from it. And the algorithm, being the algorithm, is happily serving them more of it. Curriculum content is now its own brain rot category, I swear. There are creators whose entire feed is just this aesthetic shot of books they're not actually reading. But here's where I have to be kind of careful, because it's really easy to be too cynical here. And I really don't want to be, because some of these people are genuinely doing the thing. They're actually reading, they're unplugging, and I feel like they're showing up for the version of themselves they want to be. And the videos are just a byproduct of that. For a lot of people, the curriculum trend is the first time they've taken any of this seriously, guys. Think back before COVID, man. I used to be a bum before COVID on my phone all the time. This is the first time they've thought about what they actually want their life to look like. The first time they've considered that their feed and their identity might be the same thing. And that is not nothing. So I'm not here to dunk on it. I do think it's beautiful and real, and people are just waking up. But here's what I keep getting stuck on. Every curriculum video I watch, and I've watched a lot of them now researching this topic, has the same thing in common. They're all about adding more books, more hobbies, more routines. And you know, I get it. Filling your life with good things to push out the bad, that's a real strategy. I did that. But what if the actual problem isn't that we don't have enough good stuff in our lives? What if the problem is something quieter than that? Something that no curriculum, no algorithm can fix because it doesn't fit on a checklist. Something that the most ironic thing about the curriculum trend is, the trend itself can't even point at it. There's something nobody on this trend is talking about, not because they're hiding it, because they don't know they're avoiding it. And it's the actual cure. And that's the third thing I wanted to talk about. The thing no morning routine, no offline era is going to touch. It's not that you need to read more. It's not even that you need to be bored. It's not that you need to sit in silence or embrace stillness or any of the other things we've been told 1,000 times. The actual cure for brain rot is grief. And I know how that sounds. I know that's not what you came here for. But stay with me, please, because once you see this, the whole thing starts to make sense. Brain rot didn't just damage your attention. We talked about that. It rewrote your personality. But this is what no one is saying out loud. Something was taken from you over years without your permission. The version of you that existed before all of this. And that person isn't coming back. Not the way they would have been. And until you actually feel that loss, until you grieve it, every habit you build, every routine you try, every curriculum you make, it's just decoration on top of a wound you haven't acknowledged. And the reason no one is saying this, and honestly, is because grief just doesn't trend. You can't post grief. You can't optimize it. There's no before and after. Grief is just sitting with the fact that something is gone and not trying to immediately replace it, which is the exact opposite of what we've been trained to do. Almost all my life, we've been trained to fix, to upgrade, to improve, at anything except actually feel what's missing. That's why these trends explode and grief doesn't. And I'm working on this too. You know, I sat with this idea for a long time before I made this video. You know, the idea that I lost something. It's not really a fun thing to think about. It's not a productive thought. It doesn't lead anywhere actionable. It just sits there. But that's the whole point. Letting it sit there, that's the cure. But here's the thing nobody tells you about grief. Once you actually feel it, something happens. You stop trying so hard to fix yourself because you're not broken. Essentially, you were just robbed. There's a difference, you know? A broken person needs repair. A robbed person, they need to mourn what was taken from them. Or, you know, turn into Batman. And then they decide what to rebuild. And you can only decide what to rebuild once you've actually let yourself feel what's gone. And that's why this trend, beautiful as it is, just doesn't work for people. They're trying to rebuild before they've grieved, adding new books on top of unprocessed losses. The fix isn't more. I feel like the fix is it's essentially sitting with less and letting it actually hurt. So if I had to give you one piece of advice, you know, but just as someone who's been thinking about this for a while, it would honestly be stop trying to fix your brain. Start mourning the brain you would have had. You know, the real version of you isn't behind a habit tracker or a phone-free week or a stack of books that you buy Barnes and Nobles for like $200. The real version of you is on the other side of grief. And that's the whole video. Guys, if this video hits you, you know what I'm saying? Right in the heart, right there. Share it with someone who's been quietly going through it too. That helps more. I love you all so much. Thank you so much for all the support. Subscribe and goodbye.